It's November 13th. Today's reading takes place in approximately AD 47 to 49. Paul returns to Antioch from his first missionary journey and writes his first epistle, the letter to the Galatian church. The letter was written in response to misguided leaders that were teaching that Gentile Christians had to become circumcised in order to receive salvation. These men directly challenged not only Paul's teaching, but his authority as an apostle. This is the context for the writing of Galatians, and it's what accounts for the personal tone of the epistle. Today's reading gives us insight into just one of the many cultural tensions that existed in the formation of the early church. We've already seen the controversy that arose as Jewish believers came to grips with the startling reality that they were no longer bound by the laws of Moses. This caused divisions as many Jewish believers struggled to adopt this teaching. And today we see another controversy, whether male Gentile Christians were required to undergo circumcision. And so in Galatians, we see Paul's reaction to those who couldn't agree that circumcision was no longer necessary for the right standing before God. And so in Galatians, we see Paul's reaction to those who couldn't agree that circumcision was no longer necessary for right standing before God. While unity among believers is a noble goal, it is not to be achieved at the expense of sacrificing sound doctrine. And so Paul stands his ground on this central fact, that salvation is by grace alone, and not as a result of any work, circumcision included. Paul was required to stand his ground and do it in a way that didn't personalize the issue or demean his opponents. As believers, we will be called to take stands on issues that are unpopular and controversial, and we should not be surprised when well-meaning people disagree. Sometimes these disagreements are over doctrine and a stand for truth is required, but sometimes tension exists due to personal issues. Not all opposition encountered in one's work in the kingdom of God is the work of the enemy. Sometimes things just get tough because life just gets in the way. Life happens, and sometimes life can be messy. When we find ourselves in those situations, we must use discernment so that we can handle them in a manner that reflects the wisdom, the integrity, and the character of Jesus. Here's today's application. As a believer, you will be required to engage in situations that are uncomfortable, controversial, and awkward. Controversies will arise, and as these occur, take a posture of humility. Pray and ask God to bring His clarity and wisdom to the situation. Pray that all involved will conduct themselves with the character of Jesus. Now here's today's prayer.